The film opens with three associates preparing for their presentation outside of a conference room. After a brief pep talk, they enter the meeting, only for the leader to suddenly collapse and die. Shortly after, screams echo throughout the city as others suffer the same fate. In another area of the city, Dr. Josh is in the middle of a lecture when two government agents abruptly interrupt his class and escort him to a military base. There, he reunites with an old friend, Dr. Surge, and they warmly greet each other. Both scientists are escorted to a large hall with dozens of bodies lying on gurneys. Although they first assume that they're in the wrong place, General Thomas interrupts their conversation and explains that they're not. After warning them that everything they saw there was classified, the general explained that at 10:32 a.m., 30 civilians in a 10-block radius died without ever being sick. Considering various scenarios, Josh proposes that all the victims may have had pacemakers, which impresses the general. The general inquires whether the deaths could have been caused by a weapon, but Josh dismisses the idea, explaining that the required EMP would be too high, and expressing his unfamiliarity with any weapon capable of such an effect. Nodding sternly, the general tells them that their job is done before heading out of the room. In a school facility, Josh is watching the news about strange occurrences in different parts of the world and suspects that something out of the ordinary is happening. He orders his assistant to map out all of the phenomena and to come up with an equation of what could be causing it. In outer space, Commander Robert, Major Rebecca, and the flight engineer are on their way back to Earth from the space station. As they descend, their ship starts to malfunction, leading to a crash landing in the LA River. Despite Rebecca's precise calculations for landing in the river, the ship's excessive speed causes it to slide and rotate before coming to a stop. Back in his lab, Josh makes a discovery that rattles him, so he goes to meet the renowned scientist, Dr. Conrad, and shows him his research that depicted the end of the world was afoot. Going to Conrad's office, they go through the data together, but Conrad is unwilling to believe the results are right. Telling him that they would be seeing the bigger effects soon, Josh leaves the office. While having a drink with Surge, Josh is picked up by the previous secret agents and taken to the Pentagon, facing a group of high-ranking officials, including Conrad. Josh delivers a stark message that the Earth's electromagnetic field is weakening due to the core's cessation of spinning. This leaves the world vulnerable to dangerous solar flares and radiation, ultimately leading to the extinction of all life on Earth within a year. In a bid to save humanity, they resolve to devise a plan to penetrate the Earth's core and kickstart its rotation. Conrad leads Josh, Surge, and General Thomas to meet his former colleague, Dr. Ed, who's developed a substance known as unobtainium. This material can convert extreme heat into electricity and is suitable for a high-speed drilling operation. When Thomas inquires about the vehicle's timeline for completion, Ed estimates approximately 10 years. However, Thomas, with a determined gaze, asks how much it would cost to expedite the process to just 3 months, and promptly agrees to pay the staggering sum of $15 billion. Once they start construction, General Thomas has his men detain a hacker by the name of Theodore, who's vouched to be the best in the business. After speaking to him, they're able to convince him to help them by offering him unlimited resources and asking him to control global information flow in hopes of keeping the impending doom of the planet under wraps. To complete the team, Thomas brings in Robert and Rebecca as experienced pilots and gathers all of them for a huge conference so that the team can brief high-ranking scientific officials. Once they're all ready, Josh begins the briefing. To begin with, Ed will supervise the construction of a ship that's capable of reaching the center of the planet. Once they're there, they'll deliver an explosive charge that's large enough to restart its core. Once that's done, Conrad would calculate the scale of the explosion needed. The ship would be powered by a small experimental nuclear reactor that would be divided into 6 compartments. If they were to complete the mission, the world needed to be protected from the secret, which is where the hacker Theodore comes in, by building a program that would flange and destroy any chatter about the mission. Over the following 3 months, the team undergoes rigorous training and collaborates closely to pursue their objectives. As time elapses, the planet's deterioration accelerates beyond initial projections. Recognizing that the critical moment is rapidly approaching, the team of scientists and pilots, totaling 5 individuals, make their way to the newly constructed shuttle. After settling into the ship, they prepare to commence their journey, with the pilots meticulously going through their checklists. When the countdown concludes, the ship plunges into the ocean, initiating its voyage towards the core. As they navigate through the crust, the ship encounters turbulence upon entering a region with cross-currents. Upon reaching the edge of the crust, they activate the laser, which burns an opening, enabling them to penetrate inside. Breathing a collective sigh of relief, the team and all of NASA's staff applaud the successful entry. 12 hours later, the team is reassembled from the other decks when they're called by Robert, who asks Josh what static meant on the computer he designed as a navigation system. Looking at it intently for a few minutes, he realized that it was a simple space. As they all jump back into their seats to fasten their seatbelts, the ship punches through a wall and lands inside a crystal field, their laser damaged by the impact. Wearing their specialized suits, Josh, Conrad, Ed, and Robert disembarked from the ship to investigate the issue affecting the lasers. Upon discovering a massive crystal lodged inside, Ed retrieves the hand laser and starts cutting the crystal. Ed successfully dislodges the crystal from the laser just in time, prompting Robert to inspect the lasers. After the captain confirms their functionality and relays the news, the team erupts into cheers. However, on their return to the ship, debris from the ceiling strikes Robert in the head, puncturing his suit and causing him to tumble into the magma. Although startled by Robert's unexpected demise, Ed and Serge urge Rebecca to shut the shuttle doors and continue the journey. On day 2 of their mission, the ship is getting close to the mantle core interface, which Rebecca announces to the group. Once they hear that, they begin to adjust the weapon system, making sure that the nuclear weapons are active. As they barrel through, the ship comes across giant diamond formations that are strong enough to cut through the craft if not steered with caution. As they nearly reach safety, an unseen sharp corner of a diamond glacier damages the room where Josh and his friends are preparing the nuclear devices. Upon hearing the warning, they hastily evacuate, but Serge bravely returns to rescue the bombs, sliding them over to Josh before staying in the damaged cabin as the doors close. Josh begins to yell for Rebecca to override the ship's doors and open them so he can rescue Serge. Realizing opening the door could compromise the whole ship, Rebecca makes the difficult decision and lets the man die. Rebecca returned her attention to the mission, even though she was feeling immense guilt. A few minutes later, she informs the team that they're picking up speed, which lets them know that the density of the core was lighter than they anticipated, which means the calculations they had made on how many weapons they needed were severely underestimated. Telling them that they've failed, Conrad contacts the general back on the base and tells him that they need to go to a plan which is named Project Destiny. When the crew asks Conrad what that was, he explains that it was a device that could generate targeted seismic events, and he had built it, making Josh realize that the degradation of the planet wasn't a coincidence. Conrad informs them that they must return to reactivate Project Destiny in the hope of restarting the core. Josh opposes the plan, insisting that they should press forward and attempt to restart the core with the bomb. He gains the support of his team, except for Conrad, who begins to act erratically out of fear. On the surface, solar flares manage to penetrate the Earth's atmosphere, causing devastation in San Francisco. Realizing that they have no other option, General Thomas decides to activate Destiny and issues the order. In a bid to assist his team, Theodore sends them a covert message, asking if he can help. Josh instructs him to locate Destiny and slow it down, providing them with more time to execute their plan. Seeing that he has no other choice, Conrad helps Josh and Ed formulate a plan that might deem their mission successful by telling them that they need to place the weapons in strategic positions and explode them at planned intervals to create an effective shockwave. Despite having their solution, Ed delivers the grim news that the bombs must be left in each compartment and then manually ejected from the crawl space at a strategic location. However, activating the ship's ejection system from the crawl space ensures that whoever goes inside will not make it back out due to the intense heat. Ed volunteers to undertake the mission, telling them that it's his ship and he has the right to save it. Entering the extremely high pressure and heat, Ed manages to override the ejection system but dies in the process. Without wasting any time, Conrad and Josh swiftly set up the bombs and eject them in the designated areas. As they prepare the last bomb, an energy flare strikes the ship, destabilizing it and causing a 5-ton object to land on Conrad's leg. Realizing that there's no time left, he urges Josh to leave him behind and instructs him to use the fuel from the reactor to amplify the final explosion. Josh harnesses the ship's nuclear power source to create the last blast, leaving the main compartment without power and trapping them inside. Assuming that they were about to die, Josh and Rebecca lay down on their seats, waiting for the explosion to hit them. Suddenly, Josh remembers that the ship was made from material that can convert heat into energy, and realizes that he can wire the shells directly into the system to give them power. Once the explosions go off, Josh and Rebecca are ready to ride the pressure wave toward the surface. Up on the surface, the base tracks the explosions and is ecstatic when the Earth's core begins its rotation again, the planet saved by the 6 brave souls. Josh and Rebecca's ship accelerates through the surface at high speed, emerging through the tectonic plates. However, upon reaching the ocean's surface, the ship loses power and communication cuts out. Anticipating their emergency location, the government initiates a search and locates them by tracking whale sounds, realizing that Josh and Rebecca were using low-power ultrasounds to attract the whales nearby. Days later, Theodore leaks the mission information to the world, highlighting the heroism of the 5 scientists and pilots. He ensures that those who perish for the survival of the world are remembered as the heroes that they truly were. Thanks for joining us on this cinematic adventure. This one was super epic, and the fact that Theodore leaked everything at the end is just a beautiful cherry on top. What did you think about this movie, and who was your favorite character? Let me know in the comment section below. And hey, if you want to see another movie recap, then make sure you click the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching all the way until the end. Stay tuned for more movie magic, and remember to hit that like and subscribe button for your regular dose of fun. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one.